Welcome to AstroTwins Radio, your cosmic GPS for life, love, and everything written in the stars. We're Tali and Ophira Edut, the AstroTwins, here to decode the astrology of the moment and help you navigate your destiny like a pro.
Hey everyone, it's the week of tough talk and shell games. That's what we're calling it because, my God, planets in Aries, tough talk in Aries, and now you see me, now you don't. Cancer are having a field day this week. Hi everyone, Tali here in Seattle.
And Ophi in New York, where it's finally sunny and super hot. Happy summer, it has arrived.
Yes,
And we're
going to talk about that.
Weekend was good. You know, solstice means sun standing still. And we advised everybody to just really use the weekend to pause. And we decided to do the same because, oh my gosh, well, some people did not follow the solstice. Unfortunately, people in power, and they used it to do anything but what it's intended for. But we decided to pause for a minute and really make sure that we processed what had happened so that we could give you empowering advice this week.
Yeah, it's there's a lot to unpack. So happy Monday, everyone. Today it all begins. Well, yesterday was the first square Sunday, and now today there's another one. The sun is in Cancer. It's officially Cancer season since Friday night when the solstice began. By the way, the cardinal signs, just a little fun astro fact, which are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, all correspond to either a solstice or an equinox. They begin with those. So Cancer season begins with the summer solstice for us up here in the northern hemisphere, the winter for our friends down under. But Cancer season, Cancer, gets this reputation for being this shy and sentimental sign. You start to picture people with a bunch of balled up tissues weeping by their bed. And, I'm not going to lie, the Cancers I know are prone to the waterworks, but do not underestimate these tough broads. Cancers are an alpha. Cancer is associated with the archetypal female, Capricorn the archetypal masculine. We know that gender is completely in a new era right now, but you can look at it as the divine feminine, the alpha feminine in all of us.
Bitch. Yes.
Yeah.
The badass bitch in you is also a Cancer.
Yeah, the bad bitch, the alpha femme, all of that. So yeah, Cancer season goes on for a month, for 4 weeks, but it starts out with all kinds of madness and good and bad, I would say. We had a square with Saturn and Aries on
and a
Sunday.
Square is a 90-degree angle of tension. So if you've ever seen seen a right angle in your geometry class floating back into your memory, that's what a square is. Two planets that are at cross purposes. So they're sort of in a duel or a tug of war. And they have to figure out how to compromise and settle their differences. And to be fair, we've been feeling this energy all month because Jupiter went into Cancer, Mercury went into Cancer earlier in June, and Saturn and Neptune are now both in Aries since March 30th for Neptune and May 24th for Saturn. So we're in this whole new era. We are getting into the thick of the divine pendulum summer that we've been talking about on the podcast all year when the outer planets move into new signs. But we've been feeling this Cancer Aries tension going on. And now we have Mars, which is a planet of war and aggression in Virgo, forming some uncomfortable angles with Pluto and Neptune and Saturn too. So there's a whole lot of as above, so below is what I'll say.
Basically, all of these planets are at the very early degrees of the sign. So every zodiac sign, if you picture the zodiac wheel, it's a circle, and you divide it in 12 equal slices for each of the signs. So every zodiac sign gets 30 degrees of the cosmic monopoly board. That's the real estate that they rule over. And when a planet orbits through that part of the sky, that's why we say, okay, Saturn's in Aries, Neptune's in Aries, because in their journey through that circle of the sky as they orbit, they're going to be in one of those 30-degree slices. That's something that all of our students in Become Your Own Astrologer have learned. And, that's our course that we teach once a year. We're going to start it up again next February. But, that you can get it. Anyone can learn astrology. You can't, you can also learn intuition. You can sharpen your intuition. So becoming your own astrologer or a good astrologer just means understanding both the technical dynamics and getting out there and doing your own inner work so you can bring the two
and
together.
Observing, hopefully by listening to the podcast as you go week by week with us, you learn a little bit of astrology too. So yes, the zodiac is sort of an imaginary circle drawn overhead from our view on Earth. So Saturn and Neptune are in that Aries piece of the sky
and
from
then
our
1
view
degree
on Earth.
Yeah, and they're at 1 degree and 2 degrees. Pluto's at 4 degrees of Aquarius right now. It made it that far, but it's going to slip back and it's retrograde. Mars is in the early degrees. So that means they're all forming these geometric angles to each other, which means they're interacting, they're squaring, they're trining, they're inconjunct. Basically, they're talking to each other. They're in these positions where they can actually create a scene together in the movie of our lives. So that's what's happening. And we're having a lot of that because Saturn and Neptune are so close together. They really only join up every 40 years or so. They were close together at the very end of Pisces earlier this year, and they're going to do that again at the end of the year. Now they're really close together in the early degrees of Aries. They're going to make an exact conjunction in Aries on February 20th of 2026. That hasn't happened since 1989. So it's a big deal. And it hasn't happened in Aries since 1702. So that's just to show you how rare. Now, Saturn and Neptune are not exactly, the couple that you'd pick together in your yearbook. They're an odd couple. Saturn is the boundary hound. Neptune's the boundary dissolver.
Saturn's like the jock who's also the class president and, really straight and narrow, going to an Ivy League school, dating the artsy kind of boho, slips out to take a toke, Neptune. That would be
Neptune is a stoner art girl,
for sure. Or guy. Yes, definitely. So
they're together, and it's really weird. And they've been in the same sign since 2023, March 7th, 2023, when Saturn went into Pisces. But but they weren't at a close enough degree. They have to be within 3 to 5 degrees of each other for you to really be feeling their connection. So the fact that they've been so close together is part of why we're calling this, again, the year of the divine pendulum. It's like we're swinging, but where the hell are we? Now, since they moved into Aries, the sign of combat, of war, of leadership, of rebellion, we are seeing all kinds of things going on this year.
And let's just be honest here. Like, if you follow any astrology on social media, you're probably seeing everyone talking about war, because Neptune was in Aries during the Civil War. Uranus was in Gemini, which it's about to be in on July 7th till November 7th, 7/7. So Uranus is going to move into Gemini, and it was there last during World War II. And Uranus was in Gemini and Neptune was in Aries during the Civil War. That's the last time they were both together. So what we really had to think about for, this podcast was like, a lot of people are like, does this mean there's going to be a war? And also Pluto and Aquarius, which was during the French Revolution and the Haitian Revolution. Right
and the
after
end of the American Revolution.
Yeah, the end of the American Revolution too. So is this a time when planets are in the same signs and positions they were in during major wars? Yes, it is. Does that mean that World War III has definitively started or is coming? No, it doesn't guarantee that. However, with astrology, we look at patterns, we look at the past, and we look at probability or likelihood. There are no guarantees. There is free will. There is human action. But, the events of this past weekend and just this month and this whole year have not reassured us that history wouldn't repeat itself, that the people that are now running things around here on this planet are of the high enough frequency and vibration to not go there. So where does human free will, consciousness, intention come in? Where are these people just, plotting to destroy each other? That's we're still in the balance thing.
So this weekend we have the sun squaring Saturn, and now Monday it's squaring Neptune. The sun in Cancer squaring Saturn and Neptune in Aries. Cancer being this maternal protector, Cancer kind of ruling our home turf while Aries goes out to battle. But we are like wondering, can we actually believe the battle cries that are going on? We've got two Geminis, Marco Rubio and Trump, being the spokespeople. Marco Rubio saying, no, we're not at war. Trump is saying, we've destroyed all the Ferdo targets now. We're getting news that there's still some left.
I'm sorry if you don't believe in astrology. Two Geminis, 20 stories. This should make a believer out of you. But what's also interesting is, as we're talking about the Cancer Aries tension that is really the center point of this month, the United States is a Cancer ruled nation. July 4th is the birthday. Iran became an Islamic republic April 1st, 1979. So Iran is an Aries, the United States is a Cancer, and those are the two signs that are at the center of all of this fighting and tension.
And let's not forget Israel, which is a Taurus, and we have Uranus, uranium, explosions, sci-fi insanity.
And Uranus is at 29 degrees Taurus, which is, we've talked about this on some other shows because of all these slow-moving outer planets moving into new signs. They reach the last degree, the 29th degree, which is known as the anaretic degree. And I wasn't a big follower of that until recently, when I noticed that, yes, indeed, when Pluto and Neptune and Uranus have reached 29 degrees, we've seen a lot of intensities. So, we're in the thick of it. We are in the thick of it right now.
We've got planets swinging between the last degree to the first degree, from 29 to 0, 1, 2, and back again, these outer planets. So, there's just a lot of uncertainty. Are we going backwards? Are we going forwards? Next year is going to be a lot better in terms of just one step follows the next. I mean, where those steps are taking us remains to be seen, but we do, we just have to report on what's happening now, and it's a suspended animation. If things happen this year that are unfortunate, and I hope that
they have already,
the huge horrible bill doesn't pass on July 4th, but we have the South Node, the karmic South Node in Virgo, which rules selfless service, health, welfare. We've got the North Node in Pisces, which is kind of the welfare of all humanity, empathy. If that goes away, there's going to be such a response that may evolve us in a new way. I really hope so. I hope all of this is leading to some kind of evolution. I have to believe that it is, but
I mean, a lot of people who are like psychics and mediums and do prophecy are saying things like that, or Dolores Cannon, who we love to cite, people who work in those realms. But we're all in it right now. We're all in the 3D-ness of it all, and it sucks. It's horrible. It's just like, what is going on? And I noticed a lot of people really like slept in over the solstice weekend too. I think it was almost like a nervous system, like our nerve, which we don't want this to become normalized. That's the worst thing that can happen.
Oh, yeah.
And our nervous systems are being, the flood, the zone, confusion and chaos that's happening is too much for people's brains to take, which is, I believe, what is hoped for. Now, on Sunday, the Sun and Saturn were square. And these are the Sun and Saturn are the two planets that are associated with authority figures and leaders. So it absolutely made sense. It was like, who's in charge here? What is real? Leadership at odds. Now, as we're recording this Monday, we have the Sun and Neptune square. So the Sun being leadership and Neptune being illusions, confusion, delusion, the fog. So we don't know. We're not gonna know what the hell is going on. But tomorrow, or Tuesday, June 24th, is what's called the Day of Miracles. It's the one day of the year that the Sun and Jupiter are at the exact same degree in the same sign, also known as Cazimi, the word I always like to make fun of. But there's the Sun-Jupiter Cazimi, or conjunction. And that's known as the Day of Miracles because the Sun is what gives us all this light and energy, and Jupiter is abundant and bountiful. It might be a little optimistic to call it miracles this year. They're together in Cancer. Both the Sun and Jupiter can also make for outsized egos as well.
Yeah, Jupiter being the king, Jupiter Zeus, the Sun. Yeah, it could be
the day of megalomaniacs too.
It really could. Now you should stop making fun of the word Cazimi because it's really cute. And in Arabic, it means heart of the sun, in the heart of the sun. I found out recently.
Okay.
So
I like that better.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think. I mean, on a personal level, though, that Day of Miracles in Cancer can, Sun, Jupiter can bring some really big visions for, how to protect women, how to protect families. I mean, I heard Elizabeth Warren, she had a great interview on Glennon Doyle's We Can Do Hard Things podcast. And she actually had some really great advice on there about what people can do in these 2 weeks leading up to, the big, beautiful bill being brought
she's a
to
Cancer,
the Senate floor.
so
she is a Cancer, I know.
The Cancer leadership is going to definitely be rising up to the fore.
Yeah, I was thinking that, Claudia Scheinbaum, too, is a Cancer. Interesting.
Born on the Day of Miracles, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, she, Elizabeth Warren was saying it comes back to the basics right now, like call, text, write, flood your senators, inbox, not with the excrement that Steve Bannon recommends that you flood the zone with, which they've been doing. Our mental health is really being messed with this year by.
And I feel like since Mars went into Virgo, it's driven up a lot of anxiety for people over the last weekish. So yeah, if you've been feeling more anxious it could have to do with that. So definitely get out in nature, move, exercise, eat well, drink lots of water. Virgo is very much like about taking care of your well-being too, and that is going to be the antidote to some of the stresses.
And how you eat too. I mean, with the sun, Jupiter, and Cancer. Cancer is kind of our gut health, our
Virgo.
nourishment. Virgo as well. Mars and Virgo, the South Node in Virgo. Like, this is a moment where we do have to take care of our bodies, if only to give ourselves, our nervous systems, some support while we're dealing with these really tough things. Now, there are some people in the world who aren't lucky enough to be able to run to the gym. They're running into bomb shelters right now, and our hearts go out to people who are, in famine, in the thick of war, at fear of their own lives. It's hard to even live with the sort of the paradox of that when we're, just knowing how lucky we are to be in a safe zone, but also now that Iran has sworn retaliation, having to live on edge and live in fear of what is there going to be, another September 11th or another? I mean, those types of thoughts are probably
And you're
going
to
through
see
everyone's
that
heads.
for sure, because I already see astrologers posting that, one of the last year, the snakes, 2001, 2013, and now 2025. So yes, 9/11 was during the year of the snake when Jupiter was in Cancer. So but the fear mongering that's driving up, that I think sometimes within the world of astrology and psychics and anything like that, there are a lot of people who are like showing you this is going to happen because it happened then. And we really just do not want you to go. Nobody knows. It's like they're only predicting based on something from the past. This moment has not happened yet. So please keep your heart and mind open that history doesn't have to repeat itself. So
Yeah.
I can't say that enough.
Well, because we are energetically all co-creating with the universe. And
Yeah.
as, this fear has spun up, like we're all running around in fear and we're projecting that energy out. And you were reading something, Ophi, about narcissists. What they really want to create is confusion, because
Right.
say a little more about that.
It was just, it was like what a narcissist wants more than control is to confuse you, because when you're confused, you become submissive or malleable, which allows them to gain control. So the main tactic is for you to feel confused and withholding information. That's exactly what we keep seeing happening over and over again. And with Virgo, the sign of information, kind of the guardian of information, the South Node is in Virgo. So whatever sign the South Node is in goes underground. The South Node was in Libra from July of 2023 till January of 2025. Libra is a sign of peace, and peace went away. Horrible things started to happen during that time more than ever. And now in Virgo, it's like we can just expect a lot of the confusion, the Pisces North Node, and we're being asked to pierce through the illusions and really get to know what's real and what isn't. So but we do have a little bright spot, even if the Day of Miracles is not as advertised. It might be, but it's, there's going to be a lot.
I mean, on a personal level, and like connecting to family and friends.
Yeah, it's like don't, a lot of my friends who have teens are saying they're having to comfort their teens who are freaking out about there being a war. Like kids are having a really, really hard time, especially the sensitive, empathic ones. So even though it might seem counterintuitive, the more you can really, connect to the people that you love. We need oxytocin, which is the bonding hormone. For women, especially, oxytocin is a stress reliever. And through gathering with people we love, shopping, singing karaoke, sex, petting a puppy or a kitten, all of these kind of things that are like, how can you do that when the world is on fire? No, do that more, because the more of the love hormone, vitamin O, as I call oxytocin, the world loves in need of love today, as
Your
Stevie Wonder
personal
said.
reality matters too, with the nodes, the lunar nodes, which shape our collective evolution for 18 months in Pisces and Virgo from January 11th of this year till July 26th, 2026. Guilt. You might be feeling guilty. Like, how can I enjoy this meal while people in Gaza are dying, waiting for food aid? Or how can I relax and go to the gym while people in Tel Aviv and Tehran are having bombs dropped on them? Well, you have to do that. You have to take care of yourself. Jupiter in Cancer wants us all to cultivate a stronger form of emotional intelligence, a stronger relationship to our inner worlds. We have a new moon in Cancer on Wednesday. And yes, it's going to be conjunct Jupiter and square Saturn and Neptune. So that same
Cancer,
echoing,
Aries.
echoing of all that, this push pull. My Kindle keeps serving me books and I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. And I just read one called The Journey from Abandonment to Healing. The Journey from Abandonment to Healing by, I think it's Susan Anderson. I think she also wrote on death and dying. But aside from being a little bit of a fat phobe, which is my only criticism of her, because she seems to really have a problem with weight, but the book has described the process of what happens with our childhood abandonment and how we can heal from that. I found it really helpful. It might be especially if you have kids, it also might be helpful in some ways to kind of work with them and soothe them. She's another book that I just started called The Outer Child. And
it's funny because it really is similar to that one I've been talking about, the adult chair.
Yeah.
Because she says you have your inner child, which is basically like your innocent self. And in the adult chair, that's the child 6 and under. And then you have your outer child, which is like the one that gets you in, that always gets you in trouble. It's like the part of you that's like, F you, who do you think you are?
It's the acting out part. She really separates the inner child from the outer child. Now, I'm just early in the book, but I'm sure I'll be sharing more. But she said, when we
it's the adolescent,
Yeah, it is, but it's all, it could be, but or the tantrum part, from what I'm understanding, is like your inner child is the one that needs to be hugged and soothed. And the outer child is the one that maybe goes and steals a candy bar from,
or bombs Iran.
Right, exactly.
It's very much that. It's like the inner child has the pure emotion. It's hurt, it's sad, it's angry. The outer child goes and acts out and fights, or has, like you said, has
drunk,
a tantrum. Yeah. Or, binge eats or does something self-sabotaging and is like, F it all, very immediate. So
yeah, I'm like not to the point where she describes what to do with the outer child, how to get it in the timeout, share or wrangle it.
She was saying something because, of course, like we always end up reading the same books. So, and I'm finding it like the perfect thing to read during Jupiter and Cancer and Aries are the children.
It's so
signs.
true.
I mean, Cancer is the mother, but it's also the child, and Aries
inner
too.
child. Yeah.
It's so we have to deal with our, childhood parts that are still acting out. I think what happens is the adult part talks to the inner child. You get them all in kind of a dialogue with each other.
Right. Yeah.
And and go, outer child, what did you do? We know, an inner child. How are you feeling? It's actually really,
Parts work. Essentially, it's internal family systems, the kindergarten edition.
and I don't think I
guess.
would have been like, really? Do I have to read? I'm like, come on, enough of this TikTok trauma. But now with Jupiter and Cancer, I'm like, yeah, I gotta admit, especially as a spicy, feisty, reactive Sag, my outer child, I'm just observing and being like, okay, like I definitely as like a girl growing up on a block full of boys in Detroit, and one of the only Jewish people in our neighborhood and being made fun of, or just being different in our family's values and traditions and our neighbors, and just having to kind of just fight our way, being good at math and science, but yet having teachers who overlooked us for the boys. Like we had to develop a tough kind of persona. And my sarcasm and mouth definitely were, the fists that I didn't have. But it's during Jupiter and Cancer, I'm looking at like, I'm actually, as I'm reading this book, catching myself like, ooh, I'm about to like do one of those attitude things. Let me see if I can pause and find the adult. So this is going to be a long process.
That'll be
Luckily,
good for both of us.
Yeah,
yes,
thank God Jupiter's in Cancer for a year, because it's
Scorpio
going to take a hell of a
stinger.
lot longer than that. Yeah, but we all do that, and there's no
me too.
shame in noticing it. Like
Exactly.
especially when the person, not to blame anyone, but like the person who's the commander in chief of
we
the
can
country.
blame him. I'm blaming him. Yeah.
Is using those tactics too. Like we can all do better is what I'm saying here. And that's why I believe we have free will. Yes, I'm a Sag optimist. Yes, I've seen the planetary transits, and we all have the capability to evolve.
And we're really let's talk about how badly we're going to need to understand the outer child starting on Friday or Thursday, because on Thursday, Mercury, the planet of communication, is going full brat summer as it moves into Leo, and it's going to be there all the way until September 2nd. So
why? Because it's going retrograde July
in
18th
Leo to August 11th. So we've got this extended Mercury in Leo. So if you haven't become acquainted with your outer child yet, it's about to start stomping and, throwing its food against the wall and having some tantrums. But it also will do really well with some Play-Doh and paint and art supplies. This could be, I was like, how are we going to have a summer of music as good as last summer's with Chapel Roan and Sabrina Carpenter and, Charlie XCX all having these, and, of course we have the Cowboy Carter tour, which I wish I could see. But it's like, is there going to be some new music being made, at least behind the scenes with Mercury? There's going to be some new art. Also, it's Mercury and Leo is going to cause some mega bluster, I think, for these autocrats as well. Like, what are they going to do? Would a regime change in Iran be a great thing? Sure. No, couple years ago, they were killing women in the streets for showing their hair. It's nobody there wants that except for a few. And I want to talk a little bit about the religious ethno state that we have to be worried about, though, too. We've got Neptune, which rules our faith, as does Jupiter. But Neptune and Aries can bring these faith-based autocrats. I just saw that Greg Abbott in Texas has signed some executive order, which is of course going to get challenged, that public schools have to post the 10 commandments in every classroom. Like, how is that not 101? Not separating church and state. They keep on trying this. We've got Christian nationalism, which is not Christianity, okay, happening. We have, the Middle East is an example of how religious ethno-states, in my not so humble opinion, are a terrible, terrible idea, and it's not what most of the people there even want. It just allows these, fascists to manipulate people with false ideas of gods. And we're going to have to be fear. And I mean, one of the things that is happening a lot with Jupiter in Cancer too, and this new moon is like pronatalism. And, there's a lot going on with people trying to make laws around fetuses, embryos, like saying that that IVF embryos are actually unfertilized embryos are actually are living beings. So we're going to see a lot more, I think, coming back around the pronatalism people who want to make everyone pregnant. We might have a baby boom coming up this summer. I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know. And Cancer could bring, and Leo too. Those are the two fertility signs.
Yeah, and
so
also
a couple of years.
But just fighting back against. I mean, it just seems like an endless fight around abortion and women's rights, bodily autonomy, but no one's forgotten it. We've just, again, they keep flooding the zone with shit, and that strategy, maybe it works. Obama did a really great speech. If you listen to the Midas Touch podcast, which I love, they played the whole thing this weekend, or almost all of it. He was interviewed by Heather Cox Richardson, and what
he's a Leo, so Mercury and Leo, maybe
that's true.
Rise, up to the mic again.
But what I really liked about it was that he did I think one of the best things, which is presence the American values. I was like, well, this is my idea of MAGA. Oh, it's a country where we all get to celebrate our differences, coexist alongside each other. It's like, oh God, someone keep painting that picture. It's like all we do is talk about Trump this, Trump that, and we have to, but it's like we spend all our time like in his crucible, and as a result of that, we aren't focusing on a new vision, and it's so hard. It's so hard to juggle it all. And Mercury, this is going to be creating some little mayhem. This, as it goes into Leo, it's going to be trine Saturn and Aries on Friday, trine Neptune and Aries on Saturday, and then opposite Pluto and Aquarius on Sunday. So it's a spicy end to the week. I have to say,
Mercury opposite Pluto could be super intense. Again, why is the weekend when all this mayhem is happening?
I know. And, you guys have the heat dome there in New York. I also want to say everyone should, I'm not like a big survivalist here or anything, but make sure you have supplies. Maybe get a generator, because with Uranus going into Gemini, the grid. I mean, Mercury opposite Pluto already in Aquarius, which rules electricity, could also be.
And Mercury going retrograde in Leo, which is the sun. So,
true. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, boy, what a week. What a week. I don't know. I mean, I do think Mercury and Leo could be good for romance and dating and just finding ways to get out and have some playtime.
I think that's what the weirdest thing about this year is. Like, people's personal lives are flourishing, I think, and maybe this is like a post-COVID response. Like, we did learn how to continue our social lives, romantic lives, other parts of our life in the face of so much uncertainty and tragedy in the first half of the decade or the first couple years. And not that we want to ever have to go through anything like that again, but I think people are have learned how to keep things keep things going on an individual and family and relational and friendship level. And on the other hand, some people are saying we've lost so many of our manners and social and relational skills too. But I think things have permanently adapted. And I don't know if it's for the better or the worse, but I guess to reiterate what we said before, do not feel guilty or bad if you find yourself having some epic summer romance or fun with your family or enjoying every minute of life, because that is an act of resistance too. We're not saying bury your head in the
It is.
sand.
Joy is joy. Rest. It is an act of resistance. Now, Jupiter in Cancer, maybe keep and alongside all the insanity happening with the terrible things happening with ice and people being afraid to travel and even come to the United States. This is, if you are living here or wherever you are, traveling locally is also highlighted with Jupiter in Cancer. Like,
Mhm.
what are some, so we have some ideas for you, in fact, because we are maybe going back to your own hometown. We're going back again, and we're inviting you to come join us for the Detroit Book Fest, which is a free event, so you could come make a whole Detroit weekend out of it. Ophi, do you want to talk a little more about that?
Yeah, July 18th and 20th. We'll be in Detroit on July 18th. We're going to be at the historic, beautiful Detroit Public Library. It's across the street from the Art Institute. And we're going to be speaking. There's a whole day of author talks to check out. And you can come, and we're going to do a little workshop, help you find your astrology advantage, your success blueprint, and give you some cosmic power tools for the rest of the summer. That is on Friday, July 18th. And then on Sunday, July 20th, we'll be at the Detroit Festival of Books at Eastern Market. We're going to have a booth. There's going to be all kinds of interactive, awesome healings, readings with some of our friends. We're going to have some merch, some books, and
we'll be there. Come meet us. Yeah,
come meet us and get some spiritual surprises. We're gonna have a lot of fun there. So
Eastern Market is awesome, by the way. It's
the largest historic public outdoor market. There's also a brewery there, so there's gonna be a whole after party after the event.
Yeah, there's all kinds of like beer gardens and fun places to eat. And Detroit is such an amazing city. We were just there for a summit in June, and there's so many great places to eat, fun shopping. There's a river walk. There's a Motown museum. It's a city steeped in activism
and warmth and heart. It's really like the people have always been, but they're so friendly now. It's like like there was a Tigers
spicy
Cubs
and friendly
game going on, and someone who was wearing a Tigers T-shirt said to people who were visiting from Chicago, "Have a safe trip home. I hope you enjoyed our city." I was like, that's not how baseball fans always treat each other, and their arch rival comes to town. So that was a slice of the Detroit that I know. And so come and see us. And
I'm having another pistachio cream puff that I got from Canal Bakery. I've been dreaming about it. I sat
so
there,
many good
wrote
bakeries,
some
much food. Yes, yeah, great hotels, great drinks, a lot of heart and a lot of soul.
There's a lot of innovation too. The old Detroit train station. We had a closing party there during Summit, which was so funny because that's where we used to sneak in. It was like this rundown, abandoned, half falling apart train station, which when I was a photography student in the 90s in art school, we would sneak in there. There used to be raves in there. We would take these amazing pictures of ourselves and our friends.
It looks nothing like that. It's now called Michigan Central. I think maybe it always was, but it's totally restored. It's an incredible
and it's turned
thing.
into a space, not just an event space, but an incubator for
that's right,
a lot
offices
of small businesses too. So if you're somebody who's maybe you're thinking about moving out of your expensive city and somewhere that's a bit more affordable, Detroit still is. or maybe you just want to be around people who are creatives and innovators. So we're excited. We're really excited to be going back there. And it's just so.
And both of these events are free this time. So, come on down. And also, speaking of free events, we are excited that some of you guys really loved and told us that you loved the podcast that I did with our first guest ever, Erin Claire Jones of Human Design Blueprint. Well, Erin is doing a free human design workshop on July 1st at 7:30 p.m. Eastern called Permission Granted. And she's going to take you deeper into understanding your human design type and really how to use it in a practical way. So we will drop the link for that too, but go ahead and sign up. You also get a free workbook. Human design is astrology on steroids, and dropping a little teaser. We have some stuff that we're working on and brewing up. We got really intrigued in trying to understand how to explain human design to astrology people, because it is astrology on steroids, I like to call it. So we've been cracking that code for you guys to help you understand it. And Erin has such a similar approach to human design as we do to astrology. It's like making it practical, something you can apply to your everyday life. So the link is in the show notes to Permission Granted. Sign up and enjoy a free immersion in learning about this.
We will be there. 6-2 sacral authority generators, in case you're wondering. Yep. And
we will. So also a reminder, if you enjoyed the podcast, please like, subscribe, share. We're growing, and we really appreciate any support. And lastly, if you want to have an astrology chart reading, we've absolutely been loving the people who have been booking readings with us almost exclusively, like from the podcast. You guys have been snapping up the spots, and we have just loved talking to those of you who've already done readings with us and get on the schedule while it's open. Love to read your chart and help guide you into the next part of the year and through this wild summer.
A lot. It's going to be, there's a lot. Every moment counts. You know what I like about this year, though, that is happening, and maybe this is a trauma response, but I feel like I'm a lot more present. Like, one thing that can happen when the future seems so insane is that you appreciate every moment of peace that you have, and you want to make every moment richer, because it's like, wow, there's so much uncertainty. And, we're addicted to trying to control the future. And now Pluto's out of Capricorn. It's in Aquarius. It's a little more, more of like a hippy dippy with a shadow work touch, So what is it? Where is the shadow of all that future tripping that we can sort of say, you know what, there's multiple realities happening all at once, and I'm going to choose one to be in at this moment in time, not going into denial, but also like moving through the dimensions. So on that meandering Pisces North Node,
Sun-Neptune square,
I'm going to go drift off into that bubble. And we'll be with you this week on Instagram in our horoscopes. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to AstroTwins Radio. If today's episode gave you an aha moment, we'd be over the moon if you left us a 5-star review. It helps fellow astrology lovers find us. And make sure to hit subscribe and follow us on iTunes and Spotify so you never miss an episode. Want the full visual experience? You can also watch the video version on our YouTube at AstroTwins-TV. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at AstroTwins and head over to astrostyle.com to read your free daily, weekly, and monthly horoscope that we write for you with love. Until next time, move with intention and let the universe meet you there.